Hello again. For this video, we're going to be adding borders and roads. So we'll start with some borders. Forgot to name these. We can just group that, name it forest style 2. Create a new layer, and we're going to name this borders. Press B, go down to your brushes here. Now, I do have a couple different lines you can use for borders. The first one is this dotted line. The next one is this kind of hybrid of dotted and dashed lines. And the third one is a broken line. But we will be using just the dotted line. Or you can use a solid line, whatever's your preference. And we're going to actually go to brush settings and increase the spacing by quite a bit. Close that. And so earlier I mentioned that rivers make natural borders. So what we can do is we can just kind of trace our rivers. And there's a super fast way to do this, by the way. If you want to be lazy, I'll show you how to do that. But first, we will just naturally trace this. And it's good to kind of just do things by hand too, because then you get like more of a natural penmanship kind of feel to what you're doing. Less like computer mathematically perfect feel. However, in the interest of time, sometimes doing things this way isn't always the best. We can go this way. And so now we have kind of like a natural border kind of following the river. But let's say you don't want to do it that way. What you can do is, we'll just make a new layer, just for example. Get rid of your forest, so click the I button and that'll hide it, and get rid of your mountains. And what we'll do is we'll take our select tool. We'll press sample all layers. And then we can do that down here as well. Actually, no, we don't. We'll do it down here. And then we'll go contract, or select, modify contract by 3. Actually 5. And then we'll go to paths right here. And we'll click this button here. And that just turned our selection into a path. And then from there, we'll want to make sure we draw on the canvas first. I actually want to bring this closer together because I don't like it. And then we'll go back to paths, and then we'll click this button right here, which will basically turn that into a solid, or dotted lines. So as you can see, it obviously made way too many. So what we'll do is we'll make a mask just to protect the layer. I didn't explain this, but the nice thing about masks is, you know, if you erase with black and then you fill with white, and then it kind of comes back. But yeah, we're just going to erase all the border markers that we don't want, which is basically all of them. And you can see this method really gives you a very clean result, especially when it comes to tracing, doing borders over like rivers. Um, that one. And we'll just add some more really quick. I don't know why. Oh, okay. Yeah, we can just press apply mask now. And we'll just add more little dots where they didn't land. This kind of looks a little funny. We'll erase that. And we can just add another one here. Or actually, we want to bring back our forests and mountains. So we can add a little one there. And we can have some straight borders, you know. I'm just thinking here, where else can we add one? We can add... This actually might be enough. And before we add roads, we're going to add our markers for where we're going to want our city. So we can just make this our new borders layer and delete the old one. So I typed that wrong. So we can call this markers. So this is where our city locations are going to be. I like to use the hard round brush and kind of give it like a decent size. Yeah, 10 is probably okay. But I also have some other markers here you can use. I have this one, X's, swords. Swords are good for denoting battles. I have this one, which is more modern. A star. You know, choice is yours. But we're going to just use a plain and simple dot. And one thing to remember is when it comes to plotting locations is you know, civilization happens where water is, so you know, coastlines. And you want to make sure the dot is close to the coastline. You know, coastline, you know, coastline. And then you know, and you can of course have some on the rivers here. Maybe another one down here. And one on the lake right there. That's not to say that all your cities have to be on water, but I like mine to be close to water. So now we can draw some roads. Now I don't typically draw, I don't always have to draw roads, but One pen marker I like to use for roads is the broken line. And so if you want some really clean roads, what you can do is press P. This brings out your pen tool. And what you can do is kind of just click the two locations here. Just kind of have like a road kind of like coming off coastline here. Let's make that a little bigger. Then go to paths and then click this circle here. And then now you have a fairly clean, well, kind of clean looking road. And if you want, you know, you can do that for just about all of the various locations. Or you can just draw it manually, you know, that works too. It really depends on what you're after, you know. That looks pretty good. You know, or you can do another method here. We'll make a white brush, and at this point, if we're going to use this method, we might as well just go back to using a white background, which is what it's going to be on, and that's immediately blinding. You get a white marker. I like to use the solid brush for this. You go to FX, stroke, position outside, and I guess for size we can just try 3. 3 works really well. And so you got this kind of nice, super even kind of road looking business happening here. So you want to make sure that you don't have any shape dynamics is off, or else, you know, if you had that, then, I mean, I guess if you like that, that works perfectly fine, but I typically don't like to have shape dynamics off when I do this particular method. So we can kind of just draw road. We want this under the markers though, of course. And I'm just gonna do that. And since there's like some mountains there, maybe those mountains are like way too treacherous or something, so people go around. Just kind of build your story around your map. I'll make this a little bit smaller. And then just kind of go to paths, fill, and then there you go. Do some more. Maybe there isn't a road going to that city because, I don't know, maybe this land is in conflict with that one or something, and they don't have roads for trade going between their cities, you know? But there's a road up here, and we'll move the markers so that they fit the road pretty easily. And this. Maybe there's another city there that I just haven't discovered yet. And I guess it'd be better if the roads were beneath the line work. And just erase that a little bit. Maybe there's some other roads going down this way. You know? I don't know what this is. So we'll just erase that. And for a fantasy map, I wouldn't use a star, but just to say this is a fantasy map, you know, we can just say make capitals, go back down to markers, a little bigger. And this is the capital of that place. This is another capital right there. What we can do is go FX, stroke, make a whiter color here. And that kind of just drop that down a bit. Kind of helps our markers stand out from the road a little bit. So to move this stuff, you can just take the lasso tool here or L and just kind of highlight that, move it around, and just erase that. So here we have a pretty cheaply built but pretty decent looking map, kind of coming along. We have another road going this way. But I want to make sure we're using the right brush. And not all roads need to be the same width either. You know, you can have some variation in them. That'll actually help. So maybe you know, this is next to like these cities all border the sea, so it would make sense that maybe they have some trade routes going through the water, so you can just name this trade routes. And then we can go down to our broken line. And, you know, we can draw some trade routes. Be, you know, this is a route right there. Okay. That's a little off. No, maybe this area down here is like really dangerous or something. So like the only way they can get over this city is through the water. Again, I kind of botched that. And again, we have another trade route going through here. Maybe this one's like closer to the coast. And let's just say these guys hate everyone for some reason. And maybe they're like orcs or something. Yeah. So now we have roads and paths. Now we're going to be moving on to naming for the next video.